So to get the Galway view on Saturday's big match, delighted to welcome back to the show All-Ireland winning manager with the Tribesmen, CyrIl Farrell. And CyrIl, 3 weeks have passed since Dublin dumped Galway out of the Leinster Championship. What concerned you most about that display?
Well, I suppose the big thing concerning most Galway people was like that they were so flat all around the team. Okay, goalie and backs were okay, they were holding out, they still played okay, but from midfield up, very, very flat. And no one seemed to be, maybe Conor Guida, but other than that, everyone seemed to be just stuck to the ground. And like I suppose the mentors or the management team, they didn't take off really anyone to do the very end. They probably thought something was going to happen, but next thing the game was gone, and you'd have to say on merit, Dublin won on merit, they deserved to win the way they played.
And in terms of the Galway defence, CyrIl, Garrod McInerney started at full back and we saw Daithí Burke at centre back. Do you expect Burke to return to number 3 shirt on Saturday?
Well, I thought he would. I think he'd be more at home in it. He's been an All-Star there for the last years or thereabouts anyway. And Garrod should be Garrod can play in the middle, very, very strong. May not have the greatest pace in the world, but like the last day, it wasn't the backs were really at fault. They were still doing okay. Dublin's score wasn't that outrageous. But from midfield up, we seem to be very flat. And I don't know what they're going to do. Whether they're going to say, well, that's just an off or once off. But you'll find the team will be more or less the same. They might make one or two switches or one or two different fellas. It won't be that many different, you'll find.
And Joe Cannon had a rare off day against Dublin from place balls, CyrIl. Who do you expect will be hitting the frees this time around?
Oh, I'd say to be Joe again. It'll be fair to him, like Tomas. He's usually very consistent. I've never seen him miss balls like that before, either for club or county. You'd have to say that to be fair to him. And he wasn't long back from a kind of a broken toe, a fractured toe, so maybe that affected him. But he just was one of these days, and I'd expect him to be on the frees again. And I would hope that they'll pick him nearer the goal. I'd love to see him in around the full forward line, especially full forward, because to me he's a threat in there where he's not the same threat anymore out the field. Wouldn't have the pace for it, Tomas.
And looking at Waterford, CyrIl, they got the job done eventually against Laois last week. What do you make of their form heading into Saturday's game?
Well, you see, going in last week, Laois put it up, but I would think they were always going to win that match. I'd expect. Look, Waterford in Thurles, Tomas, to me, that's their happy hunting ground. They can play fantastic hurling in it, and with Prunty back again, and say with Jamie Barron back, so I'd expect a big display from them. And now the Waterford are in the Galway camp. The rumour has it, or the treble has, that the goalie Eddie Murphy has tested positive or been kind of, a contact or something to COVID, so he could be out for Saturday. Now, if he is, it'd be a big loss.
Yeah, how much of a blow would that be to Galway, CyrIl, and who would come in his place if he does miss out?
The modern goalkeeper, the way it is, Tomas, he'd be very quick in the puck out, and he'd be kind of pinning fellas. He's good at pinning lads with the ball, long or short, he'd put it into your pocket. Now, the young lad that we probably could offer him is young Fahy is his name, played for under 21s. A good keeper, but wouldn't have the experience. Now, again, he's young, both were young, but wouldn't have the experience of Murphy. Now, he'd been there the whole time, but I would think, I'm not sure whether Murphy missed, but that's the rumour, if you know what I mean. So it looks like, it wouldn't come out. It was true, I'd say. So he's gone, and the only thing is that the node in time, it isn't Saturday morning, it's the kind of node now that he won't be there,
Just looking at the other game on Saturday, CyrIl, 4:30 in the LIT Gaelic grounds, Clare versus Cork. Clare coming in after 2 wins over Wexford and Waterford. Cork lost to Limerick 3 weeks ago. How do you see this game going?
Well, you'd have to say, Tomas, that Clare on a good, kind of on a good groove. Every game they play, they're improving, and I think that Clare can play fairly physical, make it a physical game. Not talking about dirty, but being Cork's face, they'll be very hard to beat. Cork, Tomas, will if they get room, they'll dance. If you give them room to dance, they'll dance, and they'll play lovely hurling, and they'll run you off the park if they give them room. Now, I would think that Clare's policy would be to be in their face, not to let them kind of get this kind of short passing game going. The pass off the shoulder that they're very good at. Cork could hit you with 2 or 3 goals very fast. Whether it'll suit Cork, I think they'll like it. They love the hopping ball. To me, Clare will be slight favourites going in, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cork get room. They'll make you pay.
Absolutely, CyrIl. And speaking of dancing, Limerick led Tipperary a merry dance in the second half of the Munster final last Sunday in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Have you ever seen a better goal than the one Kyle Hayes got the last day?
Yeah, it was unreal. It's probably goal of the year at least, I'd say, Tomas, the way he came up the pitch. He did the same against Galway last year, and even though turning the hurl upside down. But you'd have to question where the defenders were. I know he's fast. I wouldn't be blaming the wing forwards for it, but there was backs that he had to meet. He ran around them. To me, the back, when you come to him, you have to hit a body tackle. You stop him dead. Okay, you might have put your own body on the line. A bit say Paddy Deegan did to Lee Chin, Wexford versus Kenny. Lee was They made a thundering through. Next time Paddy comes and puts his body on the line. Okay, might hurt you, but he took chin out of the game. That's what you have to do. You can't just afford to let him run up the whole pitch. Then it happened against Galway last year. He came up along the sideline 2 or 3 times, and no one put him over the line. Now he's a great athlete and a great player. That really turned the night for Limerick, and to some come back. But maybe the weather was very hot, and maybe going in at half time, maybe Tip thought, maybe the management thought, I know they'd be active to go push on the second half, but when your head gets turned a little bit, I'm thinking hurling is a funny game. 10 points or 7 in hurling, it's not much. It might be a lot in football, but in hurling, it's nothing really.
Absolutely, certainly did, and we'll be seeing plenty more of Limerick for the rest of the summer, Cyril. But one team we won't be seeing is Wexford. They got knocked out by Clare last Saturday. Do you think that Davy Fitzgerald will stay on with Wexford next year?
I don't know really. He's 5 years old. They'll be looking at, when they analyse the game, they're going to realise that they were caught cold in the first quarter. Now, see, Clare, that's what I'm saying. Clare had games played, and you can't beat having games played. Now, I know Galway were lying idle for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but Waterford have games played, and that's what counts really. I don't know, I know the players there won't want him to go anyway, but whether it's up to himself, but it's a tough old trip up and down. But he'd have to, they'd have plenty of time to analyse it, and sure, it'll be a long winter because the club thing will start straight away, and you won't feel it coming around again, the way the kind of the season are kind of divided now,
CyrIl Farrell, great to chat hurling with you as always, and enjoy all the games over the weekend.
Now you're hurling. Lorna Porca with Tomás McCarthy on WLR.
Well, it was a long night for the Waterford minor footballers on Wednesday as they went down to Cork by 40 points at Fairfield, 5-28 to 3 points. A hard one to take for Daisha boss Tim Lennon.
Listen, all we can say is to try and brush it off. It is probably too steep a learning curve for a few of them anyway. We had a very young team, we 10 under 16s on that as well, so it's very harsh putting them out there, and in the back of your mind, thinking that something like that's going to happen, but in fairness, they played to the end, and listen, that's all we could ask them to do anyway, obviously, we're in a position where we're at in Cork or where they're at, and there's just a huge difference between it, but that's something that the county as a whole has to look at and really restructure stuff, and to give these lads a better chance, at this level.
Are you hopeful for the future, Tim, with regard to the restructuring that's happening now with the Daisha Academy squads following the review by Jason Ryan?
Yeah, well, that's the strength and conditioning side of it, which is what that is, and hopefully there'll be more to come from that as well, as regards, say, at the minute, when fellas come into a development squad, we're supplementing what the clubs are supposed to be doing, so, and that's the killing thing, these fellas aren't getting the ground in clubs, it's the basics that are lacking there now as well, and it's not the lads that played there tonight their fault, the whole county really has to have a good look at itself and encourage fellas to go play, but get the quality of coaching right there first anyway, so that's the big bugbear, that gets me, there's not enough of being done, we're not taking it seriously enough, and then that's what we're going to end up with, fellas that give all that hard work, they don't deserve something like that,
Yeah, what changes would you like to see, Tim, in terms of football in the county?
Yeah, there's an endless list of things, that you'd want to see done, but as I say, first of all, clubs have to step up, and people say I'm being too harsh on the clubs, it's doable if we have the will to do it, simple as that. There are good clubs out there that are doing a lot, but that has to be across the board, east and west, doesn't make any difference, and by doing that, we're going to have a broader base of players, we'll have more fellas that have better skills, so we'll have a broader pick, and then, maybe we won't even have to dip into squads that are below, that are off the age, or even into hurling squads, but it'll take a huge effort, and it's not going to happen overnight.
Strong words from Daisha minor football boss Tim Lenihan to finish out this evening's show. A reminder that Saturday's All-Ireland hurling qualifier Waterford vs Galway will be our George Corbett scored a big match here on WLR. Join Kieran O'Connor and Dan Shanahan for live coverage from 1:45. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, slán go fóill.
Lorna Porca with Tomás McCarthy on WLR.